The last piece of theatre that I saw before the apocalypse hit was a production of Cyrano de Bergerac in London. And 1.5 scenes in, I was like, I have to play this role. I've never felt anything like that in my entire life. And what's, I think, really important about having a woman play Cyrano is that this idea of, sure, you can be really good at this, but there's something about your body that's just letting you down. And this constant thing about like, women's bodies have to be different, better, more beautiful. I just was like, oh, this is so clear. It's so perfect for a woman to play this role. But the second half of Cyrano is straight up tragedy. Everybody goes to war, everybody dies. Roxanne, depending on which translation you use, is either a whore or a nun. And Cyrano professes his love and then dies in her arms. I remember leaving the theatre going, I'm not sure, especially if you've got a woman in that role, I'm not sure that's a story I want to tell. And I've been trying to be really responsible about the stories that we tell, because the stories that we tell have power. So I left kind of despondent and I called Sarah Goods. I was like, listen, we need to do Cyrano. And Sarah Goods was like, Cyrano, I love Cyrano. We should absolutely do Cyrano. And I went, but I just don't know what we do about the second half, because tragedy and despair and she went, just with such simplicity, oh, well, it's out of copyright. You should just write your own adaptation. I went, okay, I will. But what was so incredible about it was that as the apocalypse started to happen around us, I was like, oh, this show, this story of Cyrano is perfect for right now. And how often do you ever get to say that? It's perfect for right now because Cyrano has isolated themselves to protect something that they love. They've said, my reaching out and trying to connect with you will hurt you. So I swear I will keep you safe by keeping myself isolated. And I was like, this is what we're doing. This is what we're all doing, because it's about the courage and the joy and the hope and the connection and community that it takes to go, we can come out of this, we can come through this, and it doesn't have to be a traumatic ending and it doesn't have to be a tragic ending. This is a story of hope and joy. So to celebrate coming out of that time, let's do that very thing and let's say this is, I mean, it's a well-used phrase, but this show is a love letter to theatre, and it's set in an empty theatre, and it's a collection of actors trying to remember how to tell the story of Cyrano, and at all points asking each other, why are we telling it this way? And if we don't want to tell it this way, if we want to have the courage to change the story and to change the ending, then again, as a collective act of community, could we get the courage to jump the narrative? Could we end this happily? Could we, if we all together said, it doesn't have to be a tragedy, this whole story of this whole terrible time could end well, then could we do it? And that sense of hope, that sense of courage, and that sense of joy and love and community is something that was so important for me to write when I was so isolated and so alone. And I think it's a really important way to celebrate coming back to theatre.